Hey YouTube, this is Random Rob for the new show. And I want to talk a little bit about Robocop today, and I woke up this morning with Verhoeven hair, so I thought I would just leave it and talk about this great movie from 1987. Oh, that's hot. Hot coffee. And I don't really want to do a, retrospective chat about this film because it's been done by enough people. It's also, Robocop is not the kind of film that's under the radar. Most people have seen Robocop, know about it. But there is something that I notice about this film every time I watch it. And it's a bit of technique that's frankly used in a lot of movies, but rarely to the effect that it is in Robocop. And that is the use of character POV. In Robocop, when we're introduced to the character of Alex Murphy, there aren't any POV shots used until Alex Murphy is shot and killed. And as his life is flashing before his eyes, suddenly, as the audience, we are seeing what he is seeing. Flashbacks of his son, his wife, being killed. The doctor is working on him. Then his resurrection as Robocop. During Robocop's birth scene, everything is seen through Robocop's point of view, which is now our point of view. This silent view on this world is now inhabited by the audience. And the way you can really notice how well this works is at the end of the sequence when Robocop is born and he's walking through the crowd of people at the unveiling. There's just that little 2 seconds where someone steps away from a TV monitor and you can see Robocop on it. And if, like me, you're really engaged with the film at that point, there's just this split second where you say, that's me. That is the genius of this film, putting you into Robocop's head. And the reason this is important is because Alex Murphy is dead. He's gone. There's little flickers of memory left in him, but that's all they are. He's an incomplete character. He's defined in a way by his incompleteness, and by putting the audience in his space, it doesn't just make Robocop an avatar for the audience, it makes his feelings and experiences the audience's as well. When Robocop is having his dream in the police station of being murdered, the characters around him have no idea what's going on, but we do. In a sense, the audience gets to play Murphy's ghost through about 2/3 of the film. Up until, of course, Robocop is crucified for a second time when the police are ordered to destroy him. And as a little personal note, as an emotional film viewer, that is the scene in the movie where I start to tear up a little. Not only has this guy died once horribly, he's in effect killed twice. And it's when he has his bonding moment with Lewis at the abandoned steel mill, and he takes the helmet off and we see his face again. That's actually another rebirth of the character. When he became Robocop, he was no longer Murphy. When he takes off the helmet at the end, he's no longer Murphy or Robocop. He's now something different. In a way, it's the moment he really becomes a cyborg. He's no longer either human or machine. It's very important that he says in that scene about his family, he said, I can feel them, but I don't remember them. So I think as much as people like to attach a sort of sentimental significance towards the end of the film, where Robocop says, I'm Murphy. Pretty good shooting, son. What's your name? He says, Murphy. That's really the character of Robocop just giving a nod to his once human self. It's not really a moment of closure and re-embrace and finding his humanity again. He's not human. The man who was Murphy is gone. The security tool that was Robocop is also gone. What he is at the end is uncertain. What will define his existence after this moment? We don't really know. And I'd like to think it would be something better than what the sequels came up with. And there's another thing about this movie that the sequels missed, and that's, first off, I don't think there ever should have been any sequels to this movie. I find that whole triple arc, Murphy to Robocop to the thing that is neither Murphy nor Robocop, that's one whole self-contained story. What comes after that could never be as interesting or emotionally involving as the original story. The other thing this film does that I don't know if it really gets enough credit for is balancing tone. I think what's often pointed out about Robocop is that it was kind of prescient and pointing this broadly satirical finger at American excess and corporate mentality and this general air of immorality. But that's forgetting that at the core of the film is this respectful little story about a dead police officer. And you'll notice that the film never disrespects the police or makes them seem like a joke. You know, when they find out that one of their fellow officers has been murdered, it's a solemn moment. When they're talking about striking, it's a solemn moment. You know, when Murphy is murdered, it's horrifying. When Robocop returns to Murphy's home and is having these little flashbacks of emotion that he can't quite remember fully, it's tragic. And all those moments of connection between Robocop and Lewis, or when he's talking about what he was, it's all done unironically and with empathy. And again, by putting the audience in the POV of that character, that means those feelings of tragedy and empathy are the audience's feelings. And in my opinion, it's why the film still works so well and really doesn't need to be remade. So what are some films where you feel a bond with the main character? Let me know in the comments below. And if you like what you heard, press the like button. And think about becoming a patron of the news show. I could use your help. Alrighty, that's all for this time. This is Random Rob for the news show. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.